We're going to install some glass wool insulation in the subfloor in between these floor joists here. The tools we're going to be using are a tape measure, our knife, some scissors, my gloves, stapler, and the strapping. The strapping is used for holding the glass wool underneath the floor. To install the glass wool behind me, they're going to sit in between these floor joists and these big openings. They aren't going to stay there on their own, so what we need to do is install this webbing with the stapler. We staple the webbing underneath the floor joist, and that gives the insulation something nice and firm to sit on. The trick to installing this webbing is to keep it tight when you're stapling. So when I'm putting the straps in, I need to make sure that my first strap is at least 200 mil from the end of the insulation. Each piece behind me has to have at least 3 of these in there, holding it up. I try and put a few more in there so I don't get any sag. So you can see how close I am here. You know, this webbing isn't all that expensive, and I think it's well worth putting a few extra ones in. It's just a process that you repeat over and over. Once I've completed a full length of the floor joist, I then put my glass wool underneath the floor. Okay, now that I've put all my webbing underneath my floor joist and stapled them underneath, I'm now ready to put my insulations in. They come in this compressed roll. You can see they're quite tight. I'm going to open them up and they'll expand, ready to use. When installing the insulation, just make sure you fluff them up a little bit. It's crucial that you keep them up nice and tight. If any gaps that you have in there, it's going to defeat the R value, the insulation properties of the glass wool. So when you're putting them in, keep them nice and tight, nice and snug, no gaps. All right, you can see now that I've gone through and put all of my main pieces into position. Underneath here, I've got a few cuts, so these little infill pieces, keeping in mind that I want to cut my piece so it's nice and firm, it's touching on all 4 faces, especially up against the existing pieces. I'm just going to use some scissors. I'm going to line up my cut. Fit it in nice and snug. So as you can see, this is quite an easy job. You can do this yourself. It has increased the thermal properties of the floor. That's how you install glass wool insulation in your floor.